sisters, and welcome once again to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. I'm your weekly host, Brother James Muhammad, and I'm honored to have on the show this afternoon, all the way from Little Rock, Arkansas, my brother, student minister Kurt Muhammad in the Prison Reform Ministry. Good afternoon, brother, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brother James. I'm honored to be here.
First of all, thank you for coming over. Thank you for all your work that you're doing in the Prison Reform Ministry.
Yes,
for those who are not quite familiar with you and your organization, he's the founder of Gone But Never Forgotten. What is the inspiration behind Gone But Never Forgotten, and how did you get involved in the Prison Reform Ministry?
Actually, Gone But Never Forgotten is like the engine. My nonprofit is called Love First Initiative and Reentry. And I actually started out as a youth mentoring program called Love First Initiative. And what happened was, Brother James, I had did 14 years in prison. And you know, they don't always let you go back into the system, right? So after 11 years after I'd been out, I got a chance to go back into Varnon unit and speak to some of the guys who were in there, me, Brother Kenny, I think Brother Jihad, and a few more, Brother Tim, and a few more of us that had been down, went down. And I had seen brothers that I had started out with in 1992. Now, be mindful, I did 14 years in and 11 out. This is 25 years later, and they still there. And and I told them, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do when I leave here, but my heart was so broken to see them still there. Some good brothers, right? So I said, I don't know what I'm going to do when I leave here, but I'm going to do something to help you brothers out. And that's where the concept of Gone But Never Forgotten came from. From that moment on, I got to the house and I immediately started reaching out to them to send me their family members. Because you've been gone for 25 years, there's a disconnect because, you know, your mom been rolling for 25 years. And now you've been down for 25 years. She's gotten older. She can't hit that highway as much. The money is not there like it used to be. So what I did was I started to go around and interview the family members, you know, and that's where the concept Gone But Never Forgotten come from.
Oh, praise is due to Allah, brother. I'm looking at you, and you're looking good.
Right, praise be to Allah.
Congratulations on the marriage.
Yes. That even helped out even more. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how was the transition from being incarcerated to reforming brothers and sisters and helping brothers and sisters in the prison? Was it hard when you first got out? Was there support for you?
And this is why this testimony is so beautiful, and I would tell it the same way every time I tell it. Brother Charles, right? Met him in 1992 at Tucker Unit, right? Watching All My Children. And Brother Charles had started studying Islam in the county jail. Right, the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the county jail had came across the message of the black man, and he was already engrossed in the teachings. And when we got to the Pine Bluff unit in '93, you know, he stayed on me, but I'm drinking that hooch and shooting them dice and smoking that good weed at this time. And but my brother did not let me go. And in 1994, I heard we had got some CDs in. And we had a cassette tape, and I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the first time.
What's that brother name?
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the first time. He put it on my ears, right? I'm trying to shoot. I'm shooting this on this dice table. That's my brother, so I can't, you know, cuss him out. So he wouldn't leave me alone. And I said, brother, let me just hear it. And I put it on. And it's been 32 years later, almost 32 years, 30 years later, and I've never stopped listening to the minister, man. And that's how I knew from that moment, all the madness that I was in, and how that brother, the love that he showed me, and the dedication to pursuing me with the teachings. After I got out, I understood true reform, right? Because I can measure my growth, right? From the time I was introduced till now, there's a measuring stick that I can use to measure my growth, and I was at the bottom of civilization. So if you're looking at me now, right, and the people who know me now, they would never be able to see any of the residue of that guy, right? So if I do to others what Brother Charles did for me, then they can also sit here later and be talking to Brother James and be the reflection of us, right? Because I mean, the brothers are good, man. It's just we got to have the right information and the right inspiration. And hearing the boys, Donovan Minister Louis Farrakhan, gave me the the shock that I needed to even become interested in learning more about myself.
All praise is due to our brothers and sisters just now tuning in to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development talk show, a show that is influenced by the Self-Improvement Study Guide, coming through from God, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother, you almost brought tears to my eyes to hear that testimony. I have my brother, student minister, Kurt Muhammad. He don't consider himself as a minister, but I told him he's a servant.
Right.
You know, that's what minister means.
Right.
So I put that title on him.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, Brother James, clearing it up.
Because when I went into Cummins Prison, one of the worst prisons in America, they kept asking me if I knew Brother Kurt.
Praise
and I ran into you
Yes, sir.
because of Brother Ishmael, who saw the Prison Reform Ministry show that I dedicate at least once a month to Prison Reform Ministry. And I met you at the event that they held,
Yes,
and I
sir.
said, yes, I know that, brother. I've
Yes, sir.
seen that,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
So I've heard about your work, brother. So we thank you for your commitment to our brothers and sisters in the belly of the beast.
Yes, sir.
Now, a quick question.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between prison reform and sentencing reform? I think some people get them mixed up.
Right. I'm gonna say prison reform is when you look at the environment of the institution. Right. You go in, you look at the medical health, you look at the mental health, you look at the physical environment, you look at the food that the people are eating, you look at the just imagine being in all concrete, right, and around all concrete and all steel, what that actually does to your physical self, right? So when we're talking about prison reform, we're talking about reforming the mental health department. We're talking about reforming the physical health. We're talking about creating a different environment to where people, because I'm saying this is if you looked at me before I went in and look at me now, prison was a safe haven for me because all the drugs and the alcohol that I was indulging in when I got to prison, although some of it was there, a lot of it wasn't. So it gave me the opportunity to dry out. So now what if we take the concept of real, true habilitation and rehabilitation, right? And create an environment that will produce this in the individuals that go in and have the opportunity to dry out, right? Because out here, things are moving so fast, things are so accessible, the drugs, the alcohol, the women, or whatever you want. So the difference between prison reform, right, and sentencing or criminal reform is totally different because when you're looking at, there's a sentencing guideline, right, that the judge have to go by in order to sentence somebody to the institution. There's already a guideline established, right? So if you go and dealing with the sentencing guideline, that's a whole different, that's a political part of, okay, I caught a drug charge or I caught a murder charge, and if I shoot you in the belly, I get a manslaughter, it's gonna give me from 1 to 10 years, right? If I shoot you in the back of the head, they're gonna give me 10 to 40 to life, or if they call it a capital murder, the only thing you can get with a capital murder is life and life without, right? So that's the difference between the sentencing guidelines and prison reform. Prison reform is going to create an environment to where people can actually go in and get some help, because there's two places that you're going to always be able to get somebody's attention. That's in the county jail and the penal system, because everybody want to come home. So now everybody looking for solutions, right? So that is the difference. The physical and the sentencing guideline is totally different. That's why we're working on with the Act 539 of 2017. That's dealing with a sentencing guideline, right? But when you go in and you're spiritually, you're teaching the people spiritually, and we're working on getting the better mental health. We're working on getting better food, even with better environment, right? Some of the guys' water is gold coming out of the faucet, right now, and they drinking it, and the state is saying, well, that's okay, right? It's just a little gold,
a little rust,
right? It's just a little rust in the water, but it ain't gonna kill you overnight. So that is the difference between sentencing and prison reform.
Okay, now because there is a high rate of diabetes and high blood pressure as it relates to the food in the prison, am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I notice out here, after you eat a bowl of bean soup, you eat a bowl of bean soup for 30 days straight, right? And then you will see how your body is not always calling for food, right? Because you're getting the right nutrients that you need from that bean soup. But if you're getting food that value nutritions, right, you're gonna always be hungry. And then the food that they feed us is not feeding your body to the point to where it keeps your vital organs healthy, right? So I mean, you go out in the field and you work all day, you come in, this is when I was down, I've been out for 18 years, but when I was down there, green hot dogs. Right, you come in, you plate your hot dogs is green, right, or your beans are uncooked. I mean,
listen, young people.
Yeah, listen, most definitely listen. And then they the greens that they cook is raw or whatever the case may be. So the food that they fix for us is not to keep you healthy. It's just to keep you alive, so that you can do what they need you to do while you're down there. But when you get out. And don't get me wrong, being there and not having the drugs and the alcohol and the loose sex and all of this, and not overindulging and not sleeping, it helps, right? But the food, bro, when you get out, you realize that the body is just in bad shape. We look healthy, but really when you go to the doctor and you get your blood pressure and your everything checked, and you realize that you're not in good health.
Okay, so that was a transition for you to get yourself together physically also with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how to eat to live.
Right, because you can't practice that in there. Everything that they feed you is killing you. Right, now what I did when Brother Charles got me, and I love that brother. Me and Brother Charles right now, we brothers to this day. On the final call route together. I mean, 32 years later, he introduced the teachings to me. And not only did he introduce the teachings to me, I have not eaten chicken, beef, turkey. I've been on fish since 2003. So inside the institution, we figured out how to not eat. But if you don't have family support, right? And I didn't have family support. His family became my family a lot of the times. And when he left the unit, he always had a hobbycraft or something. So he would always have money put on my books, and that allowed me to be able to go to the store and buy tuna. And I know we're not supposed to eat it, but you're trying to right. You're surviving, and inside they didn't have salmon. So you get commissary, and you go and you try to eat the best of what you can eat, or you buy food out of the kitchen. Somebody may fix you a thing of tuna that you sneak you to the barracks and you eat like that. But it's survival. Once you come into the teaching of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and you realize that, hey, I want life over death, and you realize you're in a situation where you can't really get the best that you need. So you start trying to figure out how to, instead of trying to get cigarettes and alcohol, you start to figure out how to get the best of foods in order to put in your body to keep you going.
All right, beautiful, brother.
Yes, sir.
For those who are just now tuning in to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show, I'm honored to have on the show this afternoon my brother, student minister Kurt Muhammad in the Prison Reform Ministry. My brother is the founder of Gone But Never Forgotten.
Yes, sir.
Brother, as you were speaking, I was thinking Obama administration, Biden administration, Trump administration. Have you seen anything change as it relates to prison reform?
Under Trump's administration, there was money for the criminal justice system, right? If you notice, under the Trump administration, everybody was into prison reform those 4 years because there was money in it, right? Kim the Kardashians, right? Beyonce and Jay-Z. They weren't just in dealing with criminal reform, right? Because it was a thing to do. When Trump came in, the criminal justice system, because black people was oversaturated with it and he needed the black vote or whatever the case may be, whatever his political aspirations was, it allowed us and other politicians to get involved. Them 4 years that Trump was in, if you go back and study how many politicians, it was easy to get politicians on board then because money was available, right? In the Obama era, anytime the Democrats are in office, it's always tough on crime. Right. Anytime they're in office, they always go in to change the sentencing guidelines. They always go in to make things a lot harder for us. So it's the difference between the globalist and the nationalist And when they come to prison reform, is something totally different, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked that question, brother, because, you know, we want to vote Democrat.
Right.
And I know that we're going to talk about Act 539.
Yes, sir.
You're going to take us deep into it, but I think our people need to know the difference between the administrations. And because there's mothers and wives who have sons and daughters and husbands that are incarcerated.
Right.
Now, you brought up Act 539. We're so totally ignorant to this. And I just found out about it.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons I had you to come on the show. What is Act 539? When did it come to birth? How can we benefit from it? How can we get involved?
Back in around the area of 2016, right? A guy named, he was out of Washington, D.C., James Dole. They wanted to, they had what they call Fair Sentencing for Youth Act, right? And they wanted to change the laws that affected children who had not reached the age of maturity mentally. So they came up with the Fair Sentencing Act for juveniles. And in 2017, what was 294, Bill 294, passed, right, and became Act 539. And what that does, Brother James, is if you have a life sentence, right, if you got sentenced anywhere between the age of 17 and under, and you have a life sentence, you know, prior to Act 539, you would have to go and file a clemency. And 9 times out of 10 get denied, right? But now, if you were a juvenile at the age 17 or under with a life sentence, you'll be able to go up anywhere from 20 to 25 years. You'll be able to see the parole board. You don't have to worry about clemency, right? So now you have an opportunity to get out. And if you have a life without sentence, they vacate the sentence, right? Because life without sentences, you have a capital murder charge. And remember, I told you they're going to only give you life without or the death penalty with a capital murder. So so now they can't give you a life sentence. So they have to take you back to court and give you numbers. And half of them dudes been down there for 25, 30 years. A lot of them came home, right? Because after their sentence got vacated, they go back up and the judge have to give them numbers now. Any number that they give you, and be mindful, they got to give them numbers based upon the sentencing guidelines. So half of them dudes was ready to come home, you know what I'm saying? Now, some of them have to still, you still have to, those who have life sentences are still getting 2-year denials and 2-year denials, but the ones got their sentence vacated, the majority of them are at home.
Wow. Now, was this just for the state of Arkansas or was this nationally?
It was a Supreme Court decision.
Supreme Court decision.
So it's a national thing. But now this is the thing. A lot of states still have not caught on or still are fighting they're still fighting in order to have the institution to implement that, right? But it's a Supreme Court decision, and it's for every state in the United States.
Okay, now for a state like Tennessee, a city like Memphis, and we've seen the crime rate in the city of Memphis. There have been capital murders being done by young men who are 16, 14.
Yes, sir.
So why is it so important for us now to get involved with this and know about it?
Because if they can't give them, this is the trick, Brother James, and it's a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong. But they can't give them a life sentence, but they can give them 199 years.
Wow.
Right? And that is a life sentence. It's death by, it's called death by incarceration. But if somebody go down and if they go down at 16, right, they still have an opportunity to see the parole board in 20 to 25 years, right? But if I give you 99 years, right, that means I have to let you see the parole board. I don't have to grant you parole. I'm only obligated to allow you to come see us, right? If I decide that you're not ready, your institutional adjustment is not suitable for what we think, right? What we think, because there's no such thing as a guideline for rehabilitation. So you have to come up before me, and if I don't feel good this day,
Oh, you missed the class.
yeah, right.
I've seen that happen before.
I give you 2 year denials. Come see me in 2 years. But it's still a good thing because it allows them to see the parole board. Yeah. So if they're 16 and they go down, they give them 80 years. They'll still be able to see the parole board anywhere from 25 to 30 years. When prior to that, they were getting old and dying in prison.
Okay, now you spoke of earlier when I was speaking with you about amendment coming on to 539. What is that about?
Well, this is what we're trying to get done, right? Because just like right now, there's some guys that's out, and they was like the guys that was fall partners. One was 17, and even if his fall partner turned 18 a day before he called his charge, the 17-year-old is at home. The 18-year-old is still in prison.
Wow.
And they on the same charge, right? So what we're trying to do is get the act. It's already been passed in the Supreme Court. So it's going up under 579, right? The bill 579, the Letting and Representative Crawford is going to sponsor the bill, right? So if we can get it amended, we're going to go from 20 down versus 17. So that's another 3 years you add on to the age, because guys can't even buy cigarettes today until they're 21, right? So if we can get that act moved, and some of the guys that I started out with will be coming home, man. It's like Sherman Noble, man. I love Sherman, man. And you go on my page back there, and you'll see that he was on the news for graduating from and got some kind of spiritual college degree, right? But even in the same breath, you saying, well, these guys have come to this conclude. I mean, they've come to this point to where they've graduated. We've given them a degree. You're highlighting them on television, but you're in the same breath you're saying they're never getting out because they have a life without sentence. Copped out for a life without sentence at age 17 in Pine Bluff on a Sunday, right? So if we move the age limit up, those who are 20 and under will be able to get some relief, bro. Because that brother been out there 32 years, brother. Yes, sir.
Brothers and sisters, thank you for tuning in once again to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. I'm sitting here with my brother, Student Minister Kurt Muhammad, as we discuss Bill 539.
Act 539.
Act 539. Thinking something we just, I didn't know anything about this. Where's this as it relates moving through the state house and throughout the different states in America? There's no publicity about it. There's mothers, there's out there who don't know anything about this. So how does someone in the state of Tennessee get involved in this and use this Act 539?
Like shows like this, a lot of time, like I'm telling in Arkansas, what we're doing is it's like a campaign, right? It's on a radio station, and because we're promoting, we have an event Monday at the state capitol. Families are coming together, call a rally for a cry for prison reform rally, and we do it annually. So family members of those who are incarcerated will come together. They'll pray. They'll speak about their loved ones or whatever the case may be, and this is how we promote it. But we've taken this Act 539 of 2017, and we're creating an atmosphere to where everybody's going to know about it. Right? Whether we have poster signs, whether we have billboards, whether we have radio ads, cable ads, coming to TV shows. Like I got another interview tomorrow on a radio station, but we just got to get out and get it promoted because it's benefiting a lot of young people. But if you realize, a lot of people don't even know about it, right? Because nobody's talking about it, right? So hopefully they'll hear people here in Tennessee hear this interview here that you're blessing me to do, and then they'll Google Act 539 of 2017 and see what it actually is. And some states that have caught on, it's actually 25 and under, right? But we're just praying for 20 and under starting out, and hopefully we can get that. And if we can get that, man, then I can see some of the brothers that will be out doing what I do, probably to a greater degree.
Okay, now who are the opposers of Act 539?
People who don't understand. The politicians who don't understand think it's going to be a floodgate, right? Oh, we passed this act, everybody just flood out. It's not the case, right? So why I do what I do on a Monday, right? Because the minister, I know, ain't no, a lot of us, brother, when I first started doing my rallies, they told me to do them on a Saturday. You get more people, right? They told the minister the same thing about the Million Man March, right? But if you go back all the way back until when I did my first rally, it's always been on a Monday, right? And right before the COVID, we had got the momentum to where you got 200 or 300 people coming out on a Monday. That means they got to miss work.
You going to the State House,
Going
right?
to the State House,
Okay.
right?
And they're at work on Mondays.
That's why I do it on Mondays, right? Because now people are becoming more familiar with what it is. You know, usually we would just go and do a cry for prison reform, and now we have an agenda to get the Act 539 of 2017 amended, right? So now everybody is at work on a Monday. So and we're in the Rotunda area. And it's going to verbiate out all throughout the state capitol when people are speaking. So now you know there is no reason to not understand that it's not going to be a floodgate, but what it is an opportunity to give young people a second chance, really a first chance at life. Because a lot of us, brother, when I came into the teaching, I realized I hadn't even been habilitated. You can't rehabilitate somebody who ain't even been habilitated. The word habilitate means to properly equip. I had never been equipped with the proper information to even be able to succeed in society. So you take me to prison and I don't habilitate myself. I've never been given a chance, right? Until I came across the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it habilitated me. It inspired me and motivated me to want to learn, to want to read, because I was not able to really read, right? It motivated me. It gave me a glimpse on what I could be because of who we used to be, and that's what I started chasing, right? So, and that's what it does now, man. It will give some of those guys an opportunity at a chance to really live, man, because you went down at 16, 17 years old. You've been down there for 32 years. You ain't never paid rent. You ain't never had your own apartment. You come straight out of your mama's house, straight out of high school and junior high school, and now you end up in an institution that has nothing for you.
Act 539, Act 539 of 2017.
Yes, sir.
Brother, that process that you went through, and I'm just looking at you, and I'm thanking Allah for the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his representative, the Honorable Minister was Farrakhan. We need to add another amendment to that.
Right.
They need to go through the self-improvement basis for community development study course.
Right.
Why they should invite that into the prison reform.
Right.
Because that's what I take into the prison. The minister said, take the self-improvement study guide, because the biggest room in the house is the room for self-improvement. And you are a reflection of that, brother. So we thank Allah for you. Now, on May the 13th,
yes, sir.
Tell us about this event again, once again.
On May the 13th, which is Monday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we gather at the state capitol, right, in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we have our event in the Rotunda area, right, which is the second floor of the state capitol. We invite all the family members, right. We give them 2 minutes to pray, right, to speak about their loved ones, you know, and then we have brothers who've been out, like Alvin Williams, Brother Ali, he will be speaking. Brother did 27 years in, right, and now he actually got out through clemency, but he's been out for 2 years, right. Any other brothers who come that have been out on life sentences, because they quick to say 1 or 2 brothers mess up, you know, and go back. They quick to highlight them. But what we do, we highlight those who been out 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years that had life sentences that did 20 years in, right? And we know a lot of them, right? A lot more of them are still out than the ones who actually went back, right? So this is the opportunity to highlight those who are incarcerated, right? And to show the people that, hey, look, although you said the recidivism rate is not long for long timers, right? The recidivism rate is so high in the United States, especially in the state of Arkansas, because of people who utilize drugs, right? Drug addictions. They go down, they do 2 or 3 years, they get back out. They get out, 6 months later, they're back in. This is causing the recidivism rate to be high. But if you look at the recidivism rate of those who did long-term sentences,
Beautiful, brother.
it's a small percentage. They don't want to talk about that. So we got to go and highlight it ourselves, right? It was during Trump era. It's so because it was so easy to talk about prison reform and criminal reform. We were able to go and sit with politicians and actually explain to them what we're explaining to you that they had never heard, never really paid attention to those who had been out, right? Suited and booted, tied with husbands and fathers and businessmen and all of that, right? So we get to, I represent everybody. It's 18,000 incarcerated persons, right? And I sit here with you today as a representative of every one of them, right? Because 75% of them in there now can sit here in a suit and tie and live a life like I live or better. 75%. It's a small percentage of guys who are inside that institution that I will not let out, right? But it's about 75% of them are ready to come home. But it's all of that stuff is tied into money.
Wow. Brother, if you had to say something to mothers, fathers, husbands, and wives about their family and Act 539, what would you say to them?
The greatest thing that they can do now, politicians, you can have all the money in the world and still not get a politician to give you a vote, right? Politicians like numbers, right? So the greatest thing that families can do today, loved ones, associates, and friends of incarcerated persons today, is show up, right? We have we want to create a voting block, right? And we call it the block party, because when everybody come home, we're gonna throw a block party for the family members and the loved ones. But we need bodies, right? We need you to come. We need you to come, sit with us, hear what we have to say. Let us educate you on how to help us and how to help your loved one, right? But we need, at the state capitol, we need 200-300 people, right? Because politicians ain't gonna even give you a seat at the table, right? Without the support, right? But when Trump era, I was able to call politicians, right? Because I had the numbers, had people behind me, so that empowered my voice, right? If you don't have anybody behind you, right, consistently, then even though they give you a seat at the table, you still have no voice. Right, so if the family members get behind me, let me educate you and let us, a part of my team, educate them on how to help and what needs to be done to make this thing work. I guarantee you, when we call for a politician and we want to sit down at the table, because Honorable Ms. Louis Farrakhan gave us the voice that we have. So I don't have to water my voice down, period, because when he explained to me who Elijah Muhammad is, who Master Fard Muhammad is, and may have me to understand who Allah and the person is, I don't have to water my voice down, right? I don't get behind closed doors and make backdoor deals. So we are not asking you for any money that we're not going to put back into this campaign. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, Brother James, as God is my witness, a lot of the things that I've done for my program come out of my pocket. You know, I don't have that money now, you know what I'm saying, that I used to have when I was over the road, when I was working extra overtime or whatever the case may be. So we're going to ask them Monday, you know, for some money for billboards, you know, because nobody knows about the Act 539 of 2017 unless we expose it, unless we educate the people on it, right? So what I'm asking family members to do is just show up, right? When we need you to show up, just show up. We need them writing letters to senators, writing letters to representatives, whatever county they're in. Just go by. If you send an email, right? Write a letter, put it in the mailbox. We'll do it for you. You know, if you need us to. But we just need to show them that we're together. And that's the great unity is the greatest thing.
Brother, Act 539. Now I keep hearing you mention Trump, and I want to set the record straight. You're not talking about a specific politician, but you're really talking about agenda.
Yeah.
So we so busy looking at who's sitting in the seat and not the agenda,
Right.
that we can benefit from.
Exactly.
And so under Trump administration, you saw where you can do more work as it relates to prison reform ministry than
Yes, sir.
the Democrat. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Right. Because when anytime you're talking about being tough on crime, and then you go to ain't nobody rolling with that, right? Because although Mr. Muhammad, you're absolutely right, what you're saying. But they have political aspirations, right? And I understood the political. It kind of depressed me because for me to have I had the platform that I had, right? I was sitting with, I had a senator, Senator Joyce Elliott and Representative Vivian Flowers, two strong powerhouse black sisters. Let Brother Kurt, they supported Brother Kurt in everything he did in the prison reform movement, right? Even to the point to where we tried to get the accept clause out of the Constitution, because it said, slavery doesn't exist except in order to get the guys paid, right? And if you go back and you see, I was there on the press conference, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, if when Trump was in office, it was easy to get people to move, right? Mm-hmm. Because Trump had an agenda, and it revolved around criminal reform, because he wanted to prove to black people, even you ain't never, Kanye West was able to go there and talk about brother Larry Hoover, mm-hmm. right? During that era. Ain't no Democrats gonna do that, because Democrats are always tough on crime. I deal with globalists and nationalists, right? And Trump was a nationalist. I don't care what, and I'm not voting for either one of them, right? But what I'm saying is, when Trump was in office, the American people, whether he was for white people, Asian people, whoever we was for, we was able to benefit, right? Mm-hmm. All you had to do is go get it, mm-hmm. right? So that was the greatest 40 years ever when it came to criminal reform and prison reform. That was the easiest. It's tough now, mm-hmm. because the Democrats, they just want every day they always run based upon being
the private prison party.
Yeah. So,
well, brother, first of all, thank you for coming to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. In closing, tell us about the event once again. How can they get in touch with you? Your Facebook page, your Instagram page, because we want to make sure we push this act 539, especially to you mothers, because when you're talking about juveniles 16 and 17, we have to include the mothers, because they can be the driving force to bring their young men home. Right. And hopefully you'll bring them to an institution like the Nation of Islam, right. where we can work on, they can look just like this brother right here.
Right.
So, brother,
praise be to
tell us more about the event and how we can get in touch with you, brother.
Well, I think I always go to my Facebook page, you know what I'm saying? I go to Kurt Muhammad, or my Instagram page is always my name, or you can call me at 870-575-2045. I'm always going to answer my phone call. If I don't, just leave a message, right? We have other message phones that we're getting out. Have to read, because when I left and went on the road for 4 years, over the road driving, and I kind of left during the COVID area. They shut everything down and killed our momentum, and we're just now getting back up and running. But if they reach out, then we can most definitely hook them up with this. Because if you look at all the homicides now, mm-hmm. they're children. Mm-hmm. Right. So this act, it was really an act of God that we didn't even realize when they was, and I think they did it because a lot of the school shooters was, when back in the days in the 80s was young, they wanted to bring some of them home, mm-hmm. but it still benefited us, right? And it still benefits us, because if you look at all the homicides, the homicides now, a large percent of them are not even grown, they're children, right? So, but yet and still, they have an opportunity to go up and come home. But even if we come together, once we come together, we get the numbers that we need, we're going to change the inside of the institution. We're going to turn it into because we had an organization that Kip Brown drew up, and we was teaching. I was able to teach the Teaching Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I had I just took a lie out of it, right? And the principles and the rules and regulations, mm-hmm. and through the JCs, right? And had a self-improvement study course at Varning Unit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then guess what they did, Brother James? Mm-hmm. I was the president. Jihad Muhammad was the president first. And then I became the president. They called me in the office. The warden, the assistant warden called me in the office and wanted to change the JCs, because that was an outside entity, Junior Chambers of Commerce. They wanted to change the JCs into a community-based program, and I wouldn't do it. 2 weeks later, I was being transferred. I hadn't been a JC president but 6 months, and they transferred me. And right now, you can't find a JC organization at any unit in the state of Arkansas, because we utilize it to benefit. It was called prisoners, ex-prisoners reaching out, gaining respect, admiration, and morality. And that was the program that we pushed through the JCs. They thought it was just a reentry program, mm-hmm. and when they realized what it was too late. So what they did was they dismantled the JCs. You know what I'm saying? And once they dismantled the JCs, everything became in-house.
No, but brothers and sisters, thank you once again for tuning into the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. Excuse me. But I'm going to let you hold this study guide right here because you're a true reflection of the
Praises
Self-Improvement
be to
Study
Allah.
Guide. Brothers and sisters, please get in touch with our brother Kurt Muhammad for more information about Act 539. You can visit his Facebook page, and you also can go to Gone But Never Forgotten on Facebook also, too.
Right.
That's how I
Love First
found you.
Initiative and Reentry as well.
Okay,
Right,
beautiful,
yes,
my
sir.
brother. Thank you once again for coming on. Hopefully see you May the 13th.
May the 13th, Arkansas State Capitol from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Don't miss it.
All right, brothers and sisters, thank you again. Once again, the Self-Improvement Basis for a Community Development Talk Show. I'm your weekly host, Brother James Muhammad, every Monday, 5:30 on Channel 17, Comcast Cable. Until next week, peace be unto you.